just
There
maybe
was a
mention.
series on competition late last year. It was very, very popular, actually, made some money. So we might continue doing that this year.
Yep. Okay, here we go. And today is Tuesday, February something, 9th? I don't know, 9th. Hey, what do you know?
Yes.
Almost to March already.
Ah.
Today we are going to talk about the crop tool, which is interesting because there's a lot of things it does that a lot of people don't know about. So I'm going to go ahead and hit share screen. Just do desktop for me. Starting with bridge, and let's do a raw image just for fun. And on this image, you can see a UFO up there. I just had my camera cleaned, and it's got a big old dust center spot. So I need to get rid of that before we get started because that's embarrassing. So I'm going to hit the Band-Aid on the right-hand side, which is spot removal. And I can hit visualize spots, and that's the only one, thank God. Click on it, and it goes away. Well, that takes care of that right away. And then we'll go back to the normal stuff. I'm not going to go through the basic corrections of exposure and all that stuff. I'm just going to hit auto and call it good. And it darkened it. So
I'm sorry, Mike, to interrupt, Michael, but how did you convert that to black and white like that to bring out the spots?
Man,
I'm sorry.
No, you're not.
I told you that a couple weeks ago, dude.
I wasn't here.
Excuses. What I do is I click on spot removal, which is the letter B when you're in camera raw.
Right.
Go down to visualize spots.
I've never seen that before.
Click on that, turns it to black and white. And if you have any more, in fact, I don't know if I can undo this one. Nope. There we go. Okay, that shows up. A lot of times it'll show up as a little circle or a little like sphere. So you just go in and click on it. It'll pick a spot to where it's clean. And then you just go in and zoom around looking for other spots.
Okay.
Aha, I found one. This is what they most commonly look like. These little circles here.
Yes.
I'll just go in and click on them. In fact, my size is way too big. There we go.
Michael, is there such a tool in Photoshop? Because I know there's one for Lightroom. Same thing.
You can do. I use Camera Raw in Photoshop, the Camera Raw filter.
Yeah.
And in this case, we're good with that. Let me go back out of here, back to normal. Camera Raw filter in Photoshop would do the same thing. Lightroom has the same thing. And you can use your healing brush if you can find them, but that helps find the spots for you really fast. Today, kind of talk about crop tool. I also want to show geometry in Camera Raw, because you can see if you look at the sides of the building, I was using a 14mm lens and everything is tilted inward because of the lens that I used. So if I did optics, click on profile corrections, it does a little bit, but not a lot. If I go to geometry and I hit A for auto, you can see that it got the lines fairly straight. And whoever's got the dog, if you can mute yourself, I'd appreciate it. One of the things you can see is on the bottom edge, it kind of ate up the side a little bit. So if I hit constrain crop, it'll get rid of those lines. So it takes it out. Now the building is fairly straight. There's another way to do this. Let's take that out. Go to the very far right side over here, and there's the guided change. So you can do it manually. Click on the guide, and you draw 2 lines along your edge. There's 1 line on the left. We'll do 1 line on the right. And it straightens up the building as well. So that really helps a whole lot when you're using a super wide angle lens. So I'm going to reset everything back to where I started.
Michael, once you straighten up the building, can you straighten up the dome? Because the dome stayed looking like it's leaning in the direction it is now. When you straighten the building, it didn't seem to straighten the dome? Or is that just my eyes being weird?
Let me get it opened in Photoshop and we'll look at it and put guides up to see. Get bright, get rid of that spot up there again. Goodbye. Open in Photoshop. Open. I said open. Thank you. Okay, you can see the sides of the buildings are straight. So let's go ahead and zoom in on the top of the building there. I said zoom, not crop. We'll bring a guide in from the left-hand side. It's not too bad using the flagpoles as our guides. Yeah, we're pretty close to right on.
I think there's an illusion that it seems that the dome is like falling back and not coming forward as the rest of the building.
Yeah. And you can,
my eyes.
You can also do stuff with it. Let's go to camera raw filter in Photoshop. And we'll go to geometry again. You can, here's your auto correction modes and then the one we just did. And if you drop down a little bit, you can change the vertical transformation a little bit. If you think it's off a little bit, you can slide it around there. And then you also have the horizontal if you're off a little bit on that. You can rotate it this way as well. Let me get rid of those. So go to view, clear guides. And the crop tool, you can do that as well. And we'll show it on another image, being this one's already cleaned up. But some of the things you can do in the crop tool are fairly simple. C for crop. I have in the upper left-hand corner my tool presets for crop. The crops that I use on a regular basis, 4x6, 3x5 I don't use. 5x4 or 4x5 I use all the time. 5x7, 8x10, 16x20, and 11x14 I use all the time. I have a Mosby crop, which is for their website, the size that they wanted their images. And Mosby is a winery that I worked for. So when they wanted their images this size, I just click on this and it gave me the size that they wanted. So I could just crop in. And it would give me exactly the size of the crop that they wanted for their website. So Command Z to get rid of that, go back to full view. To get a crop, let's say you wanted 11 by 12 at 300. So I don't want pixels, I want inches. Okay, I have 11 by 12 at 300. So this is going to be my crop. And you go, okay, that's a pretty cool crop. I'll use that all the time. So I will hit enter to make the crop it, crop it, crop it, crop it. There we go. Then I'll come up here, go to the little settings wheel in the upper right hand corner. When you hit the down arrow, you got all your presets. Hit the setting wheel and hit new tool preset, crop tool 11 by 12 at 300 PPI. I don't need the PPI because I know it's PPI. So 11 by 12 at 300 PPI. Normally, well, I'll hit OK, and it added it in there, and it also highlighted it. I don't want it in there because it's going to take up room. So let's delete that preset, and it's gone. All you have to do to add or delete a preset is click on the settings wheel in the upper right hand corner, new tool preset, and it makes a new one for you. Just that easy. And so if you're doing crops on a regular basis, you need to have that tool available so you don't have to type in what you want. 11 by 12 at 300. Okay, we click on it. Oh, wait, you know what? I want a 12 by 11. So instead of typing in 12 on the left side and 11 on the right side, I just go to the arrows in between, click on the arrows, and it changes it to 12 by 11 instead of 11 by 12. So it's an easy way to fix that. You can also change your PPI really quick from 300 to 150 or whatever you want. And then let's say you wanted to not do 12 by 11, you wanted to do a custom, click to the right of it, hit clear, and that clears out all the settings there, and you just draw where you want your crop to go. Double click on it and it will transform your crop. And your computer runs very slow when it's doing zoom. This is what I had to deal with. Let me get my brush out, go to red. I had a senior session right here. I had a senior session running right here. I had 2 kids with skateboards jumping off of the ramp there. And then 5 minutes later, I had a family of 6 come and sit in front of the bell to get their pictures taken. I took multiple images just in case I had to Photoshop them out, which I didn't have to, because if I waited 15 minutes, everybody left. So it's just me by myself. So let's close this one out. Go back to this image. Can anybody see anything wrong with this image?
Horizon's a little off.
You're
The
standing
horizon-
on railroad tracks.
You know what? You're both right. I'm standing on railroad tracks. So here we go. We'll go to the crop tool. Hit C for crop. There we go. To the right of the clear button is straighten. You click on straighten, drag your line across, and it straightens your crop for you. Quickly, magically, you
Could
get
you do
the.
that one more time?
As soon as my computer stops playing games.
Oh.
Command or Control Z to get rid of it. So go to the crop tool, right up here in the tool next to clear, it says straighten. So you just click on the level there, click on the horizon, whoops, click on your horizon line. No, don't do that. Straighten, click on the horizon line, drag it across on the horizon line,
Okay.
and and it straightens it.
Awesome.
And how does it fill those blacks? Isn't there a way that it automatically fills in the blacks on the right and the left?
That's why it's taking so long, is because in the upper toolbar, it says content aware.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
Click on that and it automatically fills in for you.
Yes. Thank you.
Perfectly, not always.
Does
Very
that work with
nice.
vertical or just horizontal, Michael?
It'll work with all of them. So let's say I wanted to make this a 6x4 at 300. And I wanted to straighten. We'll make it horizontal, drag the line across, which is already straight. And then I'm going to pull out just a little bit. So content aware is going to take over. That's why it's taking my computer so long. It's having to think. There we go. Got the circle of death. It has to think about all the pixels it has to fill in there. So I cropped it out a little bit, as you can see on the right-hand side. It's going to take its sweet time, and it filled in itself.
Okay.
So you can see, if you're looking for it, you might find it.
So Mike, if you wanted to do that railroad track in a vertical straighten, you could do that too, correct?
If I wanted to make this image a vertical.
Well, no, say you want to make sure that those railroad tracks are straight.
Okay.
You could use that straighten tool and click on the track and it would adjust accordingly, right?
Yeah. Like we'll take the left rail.
Right.
And drag it up along the left rail. Now the left rail is straight. The right rail's way off.
Details.
And the horizon is just a slight bit.
Okay. All right. That answered my question. Thank you.
This is near the San Andreas Fault, by the way, so that's why it's like that.
And you can see that the left rail is straight. I brought the guide in there for you.
Yep.
Drag that back out. Goodbye. Okay, let me go ahead and close this guy. See what we got hiding in the background here. This one's a breeze. I mean, I'm gonna open it as it is. Go to filter, camera raw filter. Tell it to straighten. It's straight. Just that easy. That's a quick and easy one. Don't save.
Cool.
Let's go back to, what do I got? Let's go back to this guy. Go back, develop settings, clear settings. So everything goes back to where it started. Let's go ahead and make it so it's easy to see everything. Optics. Always want to remove chromatic aberration. Camera profile. I'm not going to fix it in geometry this time. I'm going to open it up as is. And we're going to wait and wait and wait. First thing I got to do is I got to take the alien spaceship out. Got it. Cool. I'm gonna go to my crop.
On your lens, it's on your sensor.
I don't know.
Oh.
All I know is it was huge. And then the little ones over on the right-hand side I had to fix also. Another crop tool. Click on, hold it. You have perspective crop tool. This one is wicked cool. Right now, I'm going to leave my dimensions blank. So height, weight, resolution, height, weight. Back to my
Really
cop,
now?
back to my cop days. We're going to go to height and width. Wow.
And what
About profiling.
Don't forget to write down hair color and eye color while you're at it.
You know what? I blame it on Bob Ryder from Professional Photographers Idaho. I went out with him yesterday and we shot a whole bunch of cops in the studio, and I helped him as a gopher and just had a good time. So I'm back in my police days because he's a retired police officer. We're photographing police officers, and it was a blast. So, okay, I'm going to just drag corner to corner, and it gives me grids. So what I'm going to do is that we're in perspective crop, by the way, which is the bottom of the crop tool. And I'm going to take the top right-hand corner and drag it over so that it's parallel to the left-hand side, I'm sorry, the right-hand side of the building. I'm going to do the same thing with the left-hand side of the building. And you'll see when you do this that sometimes you have to recorrect because it will kind of take over and undo what you did from the other side. So that looks about right. So if I hit OK or I hit enter on my computer, voila, we now have the building set up how we want it. And the Capitol dome does look straight. It's weird how it does give you that illusion though.
It is leaning back, yeah.
Yeah. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go to the regular crop tool. I'm going to I want to send this to somebody because it's so huge. I don't want to send it at the size that it is. So I'm going to take out the 4 inches on the 6x4, and I'm just going to make it a 6-inch default for the right and left. So if everything goes right, I'm going to take this along the edge over here, double click, could not fill because of program error. Okay, that's because I had content aware up there. Let me turn that off. So if we look at it, we have 0 all the way to 6 inches. And we'll go from top to 0 all the way to about 2 3/4 or just over 2 3/4 inches. So it's a lot smaller image than if I did a 6x4 or 6 by whatever. I'm going to make it small enough to send. In Photoshop, you can send it by going to the upper right-hand corner of Photoshop. There's the send button up there. Click on messages and send it to KROS. I just texted it to your phone, Kevin, so when you get it, let me know. That's how easy it is to send an image in Photoshop. Hopefully
Okay, I think it's here.
I think it's here. Okay, good.
Yep, it's here.
Let me clear the guides. That's how easy it is to crop putting 6 inches on there. If I left it blank, let's go ahead and go back. Full size. And we'll take out the 6 inches on there. Take out the 300 pixels per inch. And we'll make it almost the same size. Hit enter. And the image size is, change pixels to inches, 23 by 10 at 300. So by me telling it to go to 6 inches, it made it a whole heck of a lot smaller and saved me a whole lot of space. If I tried to send this image at 125 megabytes, it would kill me. It would take forever. So you can tell it which dimension you want. If you want the height to be 4 inches, you want the width to be 4 inches, you can. You can also say, let's crop it at 72 PPI, and you're good to go there. In this particular case, we want to do it for print comp. So we're going to go to image size. I'm going to change the resolution to 2. Do you still have to do it at 200 pixels per inch?
Some are 200, some are 300.
And we'll set the width has to be 4,000, or the longest length
Right.
has to be 4,000 pixels.
That's consistent.
So you always set your resolution first, then do your longest side. So this is 4,000 at 200. And now that's the correct size. When you save it, make sure JPEG, click save, and we're going to save it at a level of 10, unless they've changed that too, but usually it's a level of 10 when you save your JPEG, and that's how you save it for image competition.
And it's still the same 10.
Okay, good. I don't look so stupid when I do that. I should have researched that before I said that. There's other things in here, such as content aware fill when you go over the edge. So if I hold, even with the crop tool, if you hold your option key, it goes out or goes in constrained. So we'll do the content aware going outside the lines. And see what happens. See how bad it messes it up. Do, 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 do. The only area that's really bad is on the bottom and on the bottom left. You can really see how bad it worked. So it did an okay job. Not great, but okay. So that is the crop tool in a quick review. Photoshop has some predetermined tool settings, and then you have your own if you're using a lot. I had yearbook crop, which is 2x3 at 300. Most yearbooks are at 2x3 at 300. So good to go there. Any questions?
I had totally forgot about that texting email thing in Photoshop.
That way you don't have to save it, send it to your phone, text it on your phone.
Wow.
It comes back right away for you. So
Yeah.
you can also do this again. You can email it, airdrop it, message, send it to notes, add it to photos, do reminders.
Wow.
You can also change from the large size to the small size.
Yeah, I just saw that.
So there's a lot of things that Photoshop helps you out a little bit. So they're doing a good job there. Now, if I can just get it to edit videos and render a video when I'm done, I'd be a happy camper.
Yeah, don't know the answer there.
So any questions?
No. Michael, I like the fact that you don't have to fill in the second number on the crop tool. I didn't realize that. If you want to do a certain size by fall, I always had to go to image size to do that. So that's awesome.
Okay. Yeah, it makes
That's
it a whole lot easier. You
Yeah.
can also do, instead of doing inches, you can do pixels. Let's share screen again, go back to desktop, which is my pixels per centimeter, pixels per inch. There's about 10 different ways you can do it. I don't know why it's only showing pixels. That's weird. Oh, that's the final there. Okay. But that makes it really, really easy for me. Do you want me to show that, Mel?
I'm fine.
Okay.
How you did that? Yeah.
You want me to show this?
Sure.
Okay. Mel called me last night asking for a little bit of help. He has a property that he photographed with a drone, and the real estate agent wanted a line on there to show the property line. So what Mel did was put in a red line there. And the fastest way to do that, let's go to slime green. Click OK. I'm going to go to brush. You can do a couple different ways. You can use the pencil tool or you can use a brush tool. I'll show the pencil tool first. And I'm making my pencil just a little bit bigger so you can see it. And you click on your first spot where you want to go, hold the shift key down, draw your line, hold the shift key down on the next corner, hold your shift key down on the next corner, and then back to the beginning. And now you have your property line. If it's too big of a line, 1, 2, 3, 4 times Command Z, I'll make it smaller. Let's go to 7 pixels. Do the same thing again. Hold the shift key, which will draw a straight line. Hold the shift key, which draws a straight line. Shift key, and then click on the last one, holding the shift key, and that will bring you back to the beginning. That shows you your property line. So if you ever need to draw a straight line, just hold the shift key down, and whatever direction you want to go, you can do that. So that was something Mel asked for. When I told it to him, he goes, "You're kidding, right? It's that easy." He knew how to do it. He just couldn't get it to fire up on there.
It's Photoshop. It's got to be more complicated than that.
Exactly.
I
There
can't
must
tell
be
you
a
how
harder
many
way to do
stupid
that.
tools I tried. And it's just ones where I'm just like, okay, I'm just going to give up and ask for help.
I think we've all been there.
And then you're
Yep.
just like, really? That's
Yeah.
all it was?
Yeah.
I didn't even have to turn Photoshop on to walk him through it either. Sometimes I have to figure out, okay, how am I going to do this? Yeah, I've had a lot of people from my Photoshop classes have called me or texted me and said, "Hey, how do you do this?" I have one person, I won't mention her name, but she called me on the phone and said, "I'm embarrassed to ask you this." And she's a very good Photoshop artist. How do you make a stroke?
Hmm.
She had a brain fart and just could not.
Yeah.
Amazing. So any other questions that you might have? Fire away.
No.
Now's the chance. Okay, then I'm going to hit stop
good.
record.